Cateries lets you build detailed ingredients lists for each of your custom menu items and then automatically scales those lists based on the quantity of each menu item ordered. Setting this up is very simple. You would go to the Setup sidebar on the left side of your screen, and then we'll start by jumping into Ingredient Manager. Now on the left side of this window, you can create categories to organize your various ingredient items. You could even create subcategories if, for example, you have canned produce as well as fresh produce. And to the right in this window, you see the various ingredient items themselves. You can add ingredient items or categories and delete them as well using the familiar green plus sign buttons and red minus sign buttons. Now, the most important detail on this screen is the unit of measurement and the cost per unit for each of your various items. And in addition to all that, I will click the sauces and oils category, and notice I have an ingredient item, quote unquote, called Caesar dressing. What does the little square to the left of that item indicate? It actually indicates that that is a sub recipe. I actually make my own Caesar dressing. If I were to click on that item and then click the sub recipe tab at the bottom of the window, you can see all of the individual ingredient items that go into creating my custom Caesar dressing. Now, assigning ingredient items to a sub-recipe here is done the same exact way you assign ingredient items to a menu item. So I'm going to close out of Ingredient Manager and I will jump into Menu Manager, and we'll talk about assigning ingredient items here. I'm going to jump into the Salads menu, and of course for this example, we'll build an ingredients list for the Caesar salad. I'll go to the Recipe tab at the bottom of the screen, and selecting ingredient items here can be done in two very easy ways. First of all, you can use the familiar Select button on the right side of this window to select from your ingredients list the same way you would select menu items for an event. On the left side of this window, you have your various ingredient categories as well as subcategories, and then again to the right, you have the items themselves. And just like when you're selecting menu items for an event, you have this powerful all menu search tool at the bottom where you can simply start typing any letters and it will search through your entire ingredients list, find the item you're seeking, and when you select it, it will bring you to the category or even subcategory and put you directly on that item. I'll pull this romaine lettuce in as an ingredient item, and I'll give it a quantity here. We'll say 0.6. Now, another very powerful way to select ingredient items is to simply click the down arrow right here in the window and start typing any letters, and the program will search through your entire ingredient list and will retrieve the item you're seeking. You see croutons also is indicated as a sub recipe because I make my own croutons as well. And when I quantify this, we'll say 5 croutons, the program will be smart enough to bring in all of the ingredients necessary to make that happen. We'll continue grabbing items. I'll grab the Caesar dressing and we'll say we want 1.5 fluid ounces of that. And then for the last item, I'm going to start typing the word graded so that you can see that it doesn't have to be the first letters of any word. It can be any letters existing anywhere. It will find the item you're looking for and it will pull it in as an ingredient. I'll say I want 2 teaspoons of grated cheese, and I want you to notice that as we're quantifying these ingredient items, the total cost for all of those ingredients is being calculated at the bottom of this window. Because I chose earlier to select this auto calculate menu item cost button, and I saved my window settings with that option selected, that means that as I'm building ingredient lists, the cost of those ingredients are calculating up as the overall cost of the item itself. Of course, if I were to change the quantity of any ingredient, let's say I'm going to do 3 ounces of Caesar dressing, both costs, the cost of the overall ingredients and the cost of the item itself, have updated automatically to reflect that change. Now let's bring this full circle by closing Menu Manager, and then I'm going to open a party in Event Manager, and I will go to my sub-event display, and let's use that same powerful search option where I can click a down arrow here and simply start typing any item, and you'll see that it scrolls through all of my menus this time, and it grabs the item I want and it pulls it into this party. I'm going to say I want 25 orders of Caesar salad, and then because I'm a little OCD, I'm going to drag the salad up to the top of my menu, and now if I click the Prints option at the top of the screen under Event Sub-Prints, I will go to Ingredients and generate the ingredients list for this party, saving the changes I just made. Now, notice instantly the program knows I've ordered 25 Caesar salads, and so all of the ingredient items are automatically quantified. They're even converted. And why are these two items green? Again, because I make my own Caesar dressing. I make my own croutons. These are sub-recipes built into this recipe. And in addition to all of that power, you can even click the New Food Service Window button here in the event, and then right-click on the ingredient list of any menu item and modify that recipe, that ingredient list on the fly for this one event. And of course, if you ever go back into setup and change the cost of any ingredient item in your default ingredient list, that change will trickle down to any menu items that use that ingredient, as well as any events that use those menu items. This is just an incredible amount of time-saving power. Take the time to set up your ingredients and to assign them to your various menu items. You will be so glad you did when Catereez automatically accumulates all of your ingredient lists and quantifies and converts them and even lets you edit them on the fly. It's about time, and there's no telling how much time this one feature can save you.